Black Myth Wukong has generated quite an interest lately, you revolutionary bastards. Is it for right or wrong reasons, and what could be the future consequences? Gonna share my thoughts and you tell me yours in the comment section. Basically, if you don't know the story, Sweet Baby Incorporated wanted to inject their political bollocks into the game, and game science said that they can fuck off.
Fatality.
This had riled up gamers to support the game for that reason, even though on its own Black Myth looks quite promising without this situation to boost its reputation. Sweet Baby and other DEI and ESG consulting companies have been infiltrating all sorts of media and entertainment to affect developers and writers in a way they see fit. If gaming studios refuse to pay these consulting companies, then they go on a propaganda war and bring their sheep through media outlets like IGN to go on the lies and accusation tour against everyone that had the balls to say no. Then typical trigger words like racist and sexist are thrown about. Honestly, those words don't mean anything to anyone anymore with 2 grains of salt in their head. Then the baseless accusations start and their army of sheep do their bidding. DEI and ESG companies work like mafia with their extortion system. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. By their unrealistic political standards, every single person on this earth is racist, xenophobic, sexist, and whatever. I actually agree that we all are in certain moments all of those trigger words. No one from other culture cut you off on the road and you mentioned all the differences that you could see in that moment nicely arranged before the final word in the sentence, which is motherfucker. Everyone has those thoughts and it is perfectly normal. Nothing wrong with that at all. They are trying to guilt people into joining the movement so that they can have more financial and influential benefits. That's all. There is no altruism in that. You know what a real racist is? Someone waiting in the woods with a crossbow, picking off everyone that isn't their color, culture or religion. Are you that person that actually acts based on these thoughts? Then stop feeling guilty. We are all xenophobic and racist, at least a little bit, and it's fine. Nothing wrong with that, unless acting on it violently based on some deep-seated nonsensical anger. Now, if anyone acts by organizing rallies to brainwash people into doing their dirty bidding by targeting large groups of people based on their own personal agenda, that would be a problem too. Kinda like what Sweet Baby and similar companies are doing, right? Their agenda being targeting the companies and gamers that have rejected them with baseless accusations that can only hold true to a political sheep. Another big issue is that banks and investing companies are holding gaming studios by the balls because some of them have a requirement to inject DEI and ESG propaganda into their games if they want to be funded. Now that is a totalitarianistic system in a way. Can you see how big of a problem that is, giving an unfair advantage to studios that desperately need funding and turning them into one of their political cog machines? Some will say, what is the problem if someone wants to be inclusive? There are natural inclusions within the margins of a creative freedom, and then there are forced inclusions that narrow the margins of the creative freedom by stifling it in order to introduce third-party elements. That is for the sake of inclusivity, diversity or other bollocks. That always leads to worse writing, because if the writer has their own vision, then it is a pure vision, unedited, unfiltered and uncensored. For example, imagine an Asian writer that is, let's say, from Pakistan and is working on their game. Their writing is part of their being, meaning their experience growing up and most importantly their culture. They would know a lot about Pakistani people, their stories, ways of life, important individuals, connection and thoughts about Pakistan history, how interactions are conducted, slang and all the small details that make every person of every culture and country unique in their own way. It is inevitable that some of it is going to be represented in their game too, and that is great. Now imagine a DEI person saying to that writer that they have to change some of the written characters. For example, change existing characters or add another character to represent someone from Congo. What would that writer from Pakistan possibly know about someone from Congo? They simply don't know enough about that part of the world to create a deeper character with many small character details that would be as well written as Pakistanis coming from that writer. In that case, it would be a token character from Congo. Basically, token character is just a number then, because the quality of the character, by insisting that such a character exists in someone else's story, will never be as good as what the writer had originally on their mind. It is actually disrespectful to the race and culture to forcefully include or alter characters so that they are represented in whatever way as long as they are there. They can be as useless as they come in that form of entertainment, but they have to be there. If someone represented someone from Croatia like that without any quality characters but just a token place, it would insult me far more than leaving us out altogether. This leads me to the problem at hand, Black Myth versus Sweet Baby. There were some claims that Sweet Baby wanted 7 million in fees, which I think is bollocks. Sounds too much, but I don't know. Doesn't matter, as it isn't factual info. So now we have three sides as far as I'm aware. We have people that are for DEI and Sweet Baby standing with the propaganda, claiming everyone else is whatever trigger word you can think of. In short, they got nothing, but they are trying to convince everyone else that it is a problem under the guise of we are the good ones because we care. Then we have people on the other side that would buy the game just to show their support against the bullshit that is infesting video games for a long time now, without any thought if the game is actually gonna be good or not. Lastly, we have people that are interested in the game itself, and anti-DEI is just a bonus. Now, here are potential outcomes beneficial and problematic. Sometimes a stand needs to be taken in order for things to change. Maybe this is that time. Do I think things need to change because politics have infected gaming far too much? Yes. Black Myth Wukong on its own seems like it could be a really good game, and if it ends up as a quality product, then anti-political stance is a huge bonus. Sometimes things need to align in order for a message to be sent properly. What I mean by that is supporting a proper product. I'm of the mindset that when it comes to video games, quality is above everything. Not the presentation quality, but content quality. So products that turn out to have a lot of quality should be supported, and that is the primary thing to support. Everything else for me is a plus and minus, but not nearly as relevant. Stance needs to be taken at times in every facet of life, and I can't tell you if this is the time because I don't know if the game is any good yet. If gamers go above and beyond to buy Black Myth and the game ends up mediocre, then maybe not the right message is being sent. In that case, future games could hire PR people to spin anti-DEI stories just to boost sales, and people would flock to support it, even if the game would be nowhere near good. Then quality again deteriorates, as there are easier and cheaper ways to boost sales than through actual quality. Which leads me to something I've been saying forever now. Never pre-order. Only things worth pre-ordering are collector editions that are extremely limited, or pre-ordering physical copies in parts of the world where it is extremely difficult to get them. That's it. Anyone pre-ordering digitally is a fool that is wasting their money on a promise of a game that they think it's going to be based on heavily edited trailers and presentations. I've been a fool a couple of times and not ashamed to admit it. Learned my lesson. Nothing happens if you don't start playing the game at that exact moment as it releases. You'll play it eventually. It's not going away. Keep it in your pants, be patient, and you might get it for cheap too. When the game releases, check out reviewers you trust and make an educated purchase. Don't be bullied into buying games. It's a game in the end. You can live without it. My point is, don't pre-order Black Myth or any other game. That almost always incentivizes bad practices over time. If you want to take a stand against politics in gaming, then wait until the game comes out and buy it then. If you want to support the quality of the game, wait until it comes out, see if it's a quality game, and then buy it. If you're asking me if this should be the time for all gamers to stand together and fight for gaming freedom, I don't know what to say. Maybe it is. Maybe it is time to put anti-DEI above quality despite the possible future consequences of such action. You tell me. Intrigued to hear your comments. There are links in the description to Patreon and Subscribestar if you want to check out reactions to upcoming game trailers and to support the channel further. Thanks for watching.